Hi, Rima.
Hi, Mrs.
How are
Fay.
things going? You're
Very well.
traveling a lot. Haven't really had a chance to sit down and talk to each other very much over the past few weeks. So, how have you been doing?
Very, very well. And I'm glad we are contributing to changing so many, touching so many people's lives through our programs. And this is something that we receive, the kind of feedback we receive from them. It's not something that bias that I'm coming up with. So we're grateful for that. And So, since tomorrow is March 8th, and March 8th happens to be the International Women's Day, we think we need to stop a little bit and, talk about this occasion, especially that, the two women who are running the orchestra and the show at ICTN are myself and yours, and you have started that journey many, many years ago. Um, to become a successful woman, confident woman is a journey, is a it's not a walk in the park. It's a turbulent journey. It has many challenges and many obstacles. And to get from an innocent child to a holder of wisdom, that phase, um, it's an interesting one. It carries many complications, and I would like really to hear your feedback, your experience, your point of view about this.
I think our lives as women are far more exciting than we think, and we have a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. And if you look at that, the four faces of a woman, you begin as a child, as an innocent child. It depends on what kind of experiences you live through. It could be a great experience, or it could be traumatic, or it could be destructive. But as a child, as you look around you and you observe what's happening, you absorb all of that. And then as we grow older, as we progress and we go to a second stage of our lives where we are young women, uh, strong, energetic, youthful, full of dreams, I would say we become, if we're dreaming of better things, we're dreaming of how we could be what we want to be. And those dreams are not always fulfilled because they can be interrupted by all kinds of life events. It can be a marriage that goes well or that could end in disaster. It could be a career that begins as something very promising and disappoints you. But the most important thing is for you to become conscious of where you're going, conscious of what you're doing. That idea of looking at yourself, learning who you are, understanding that you're not a victim, you're not a helpless victim, you have agency. And then, probably the most challenging part of our life cycle as women is when we become mothers, when we have the responsibility of motherhood, where we can now impact, for better or for worse, the lives of the children we raise, whether they're boys or girls. How much damage or how much help we offer, knowingly or unwittingly. And it's a responsibility because we cannot claim that we don't know. We cannot claim, in the world that we live in today, with so much information available to us through so many channels, that we don't know. it's it is the responsibility of every parent to find out how to be a parent, because we've never been taught, we've never been given experience. And as we go through that and we see our children, evolving before our eyes, and we see our own mistakes in front of us because they're magnified by our children's behavior. Let's not kid ourselves and pretend that there is some kind of perfect parenting and our children are perfect. That's a lie we tell ourselves. Your children will amplify and will magnify to you the the error of your own ways, habits and behaviors and words and language that you have transmitted to them without necessarily wanting to do so. But as we look at that and not beat ourselves up of having failed as parents, but learning from it and recovering from it and becoming friends with our children and having that open, difficult conversation that says, yes, I wasn't perfect, but how can we work together to be lifelong friends?
Mhm.
That's when we become, the sort of a giver of wisdom. We become people who have more compassion, who use our intelligence in constructive ways to help other people to grow. And that doesn't come, it's not cheap. It comes at a high price. But the price of becoming conscious, becoming honest with yourself, stop telling yourself lies, recognize your shortcomings, but also recognize your strengths and recognize that you're not a victim. And I think the kind of things that we have come up with, because 3 out of 4 of our shareholders are women, and each of them is a strong woman. One is an Olympic champion, one is the founder, one is somebody who has overcome adversity and succeeded and achieved excellence on her own. They can figure out who's who. And we have one very brilliant young man with us as well. So, and we're open to everybody. But that journey has allowed us to ask the difficult questions. How can we help other women? How can we empower them? How can we enable them to succeed? What do we need to give them? What do we need to give them the ability? We have nothing to give them. We have the ability to allow them to discover how they can take charge. And I would love to hear from you some of the stories of what we have done, because we have done a lot in that regard with our pathways to leadership.
Indeed. Actually, I'd say that we proudly contributed to lifting the self-confidence, reshaping the self-concept of so many females around the globe through a program that I consider to be one of my favorite programs at ICTN, which is the LEAD program. Learn, engage, advance, and develop. Why it's my favorite program? Because, we started the program by um, having female filling out a psychometric profile about emotions and behaviors at work that would allow them to discover who they are, and that they realize that women are different and everybody has their own preferences. Um, Thing is how to manage these emotions and behaviors at the right time, at the right place. So the journey of self-discovery is really interesting because, this would be the first time you were facing yourself. And this is where you talked about, becoming self-aware and conscious. And this is where the journey starts of getting out of the self-victimization mentality when when you become self-aware, and that self-awareness leads to self-management, because we can be our self-awareness could be on the right side, which means we have high self-awareness, but we may not be able to manage ourselves well. And then as soon as they discover, we go into the 9 laws of unbreakable self-confidence. And these are very powerful laws that would actually tell you how to become self-confident. And this is not something a cliche or a theory, because it is based on live examples, things that we experience every single day at work, at home, among our friends and community social network. And
I
then
just can I add one thing here,
yes,
Rima? I think the the most powerful thing is not only learning about yourself, but when you go to the next level, which is engaging with other people. If you don't cultivate that self-confidence, you're constantly looking outside of yourself for solutions. And that's terrible. When you have self-confidence, you take responsibility and you are able to engage with other people without blame. And I just wanted to put that thing in because that's really, really what the engagement is about, the second piece of our program.
Um, Correct. And once we learn to become, internally referenced, we kind of become more confident, and we develop more appetite to grow, because being always looking out for self external reference would always lead to the feeling of, oh, I am not good enough. And so that we're in this way we're removing that feeling away. And so the third step, this program, is goal setting. And when I say goal setting, it isn't just, okay, we are applying SMART goals. Well, everybody applies SMART goals. But, when we are really emotionally engaged with our goals, especially when we describe in details, how do we set goals? And what's the difference between a goal and an objective? And how to get what we really want, how to get there. Um, Timeline. Um, is it achievable? Is it not? Is it realistic? How can we be so emotionally engaged? And how could we create that burning desire to achieve what we want to achieve? And so the feedback that we received out of this program from, I would say, hundreds of females who have attended this program, it's fascinating. And because, because, at the end of the day, we can, as women. And it's so
I
good
think
to feel that you're able to empower others.
I believe something really critical about the way we approach setting a goal is we identify what is that keystone goal, what is that one thing that we can do that would change everything. And that is of critical importance because it is something that we must have control over. It is something that we do control. And that awareness of self and others makes sure that the goal that is set is one that that woman, that individual leader, whoever she may be, has full control over that. And
Mm.
so it's not an unachievable, it's not a pie in the sky wish, it's real. And that one thing which we work with them to identify, if you take everything else away, what is that one thing that would change everything for you? And once that's done, that's a powerful accelerator for going on with the journey. So, what does that
And
do?
and it is a very hard question. It is not a straightforward question. It may seem to be simple. It is simple, but it's not easy to answer.
Definitely not. And the recognition with our D, the development, the LEAD, the D is that take your place at the table with confidence. Do not um, assume that you cannot, because now you know who you are. Now you know what you have control over, and there is no excuse for living the imposter syndrome, for saying, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. You are good enough when you are who you are meant to be, when you don't pretend to be somebody else, when you achieve real authenticity because you have discovered who you are and it has set you on a path of lifelong learning. That growth mindset in continuous development. Knowledge is not everything. You need knowledge, but you need to apply the knowledge and convert that knowledge into wisdom, which is where we head as we get older, as we become more mature, as we have more experience. We gain that wisdom, where we are prepared to help each other because we're not afraid of enabling others to succeed. We open the gates wide to them.